Greetings, everyone. This is Jerry. I posted a Facebook and YouTube video last week. This is something that is burning in my heart, and I think it's because I've been watching an awful lot of news, and I read a lot of Bible prophecy, and it's a daily occurrence now. In Matthew 24 and in Luke 21, Jesus describes his second coming, or I'm sorry, not the second coming, but before the rapture, basically, what to look for. He says, just as he's describing to the disciples, you see, without being told, you see the tree or the fig tree that when its tender shoots start to bud and you see that the leaves are coming out, that summer is near. And that's without even telling you. So, how can we not discern the sign of the times? And in the days of Noah, he said it would be in, they were eating and drinking, marrying, giving in marriage, all the way up until the flood appeared and they were swept away. And only Noah, his wife, his sons, and his daughter-in-laws were the only ones that survived. 8 people to repopulate the entire world. But in Luke 21, he actually goes on, not only does he mention the days of Noah, but the days of Lot. And he said that they were, buying and selling, planting, building. Things were just going on as normal until the day that the morning that Lot left Sodom, and the wrath of God came down on that city and destroyed it, Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, this is dated 2/12/20, which is today, and it's the birth pains are daily increasing. Any time now, Jesus is coming. And I just wrote down a bunch of things that have been happening just over the past 3 years that I can think of, and how quickly they've increased in frequency. These are daily occurrences now. Earthquakes all over the world, flooding, volcanoes, horrific storms, diseases and pandemics like the swine flu, the bird flu, mad cow disease, the coronavirus now, Ebola, HIV, all of these diseases. Measles even made a comeback. Measles, herpes, etc. It's just, these are coming from nowhere. Some of them, they're coming from nowhere. And they're coming from somewhere, and we know where. Then on top of that, with these diseases, there's massive fish kills. Thousands and thousands of fish are turning up on this shore and that shore all over the world. Birds found on all kinds of different roads and coming out of the tree. People in the UK, people in Australia, people in the United States, I mean, you name it, and there's like these huge amounts of birds, certain types of birds in one place, another type of bird in another place. Then there's been signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. There was a triad of blood moons in 2018, whether you remember that or not. It was the end of it was 2018 into 2019. It was a triad of blood moons. In 2017, the United States was able to witness a full solar eclipse in the month of July, I believe it was. Last year, there was the Ring of Fire solar eclipse, 2019, that was witnessed on the other side of the earth. think the Middle East was able to see that. There's been a whole lot of near-Earth meteors lately. Now, near-Earth could be, you know, 1,000,000 miles away, but to us, that's pretty close, you know. Considering the sun is 93 million miles away, 1,000,000 kilometers or 50,000 miles isn't really all that far. There's been an awful lot of shooting stars that are increasing. I remember it was only just a month or two ago I saw that. I thought there was a missile flying in the air. I was bike riding to an AA meeting at night on a Saturday night, and I was just in like a perfect position to see this. And I'm going up this hill, and I mean, it lit up the entire sky. So we're seeing a lot more shooting stars, which are meteorites, in 2018 and 2019. Just recently, they started talking about this star called Betelgeuse, which is like 1,000 times the mass of our sun, and it's been dimming rapidly. They're thinking that it's possible it might go supernova. Thank goodness this thing's like 100 and some odd light years away, and it would not affect us. At least that's what they say. I think it was in 2018 that the constellation Virgo was crowned with the 12 stars, giving birth to Jupiter, that floated around in her womb, in the womb of Virgo, for a good month. It went back and forth in the womb before it was born. This was supposedly one of the major signs, a prophetic sign. It's in the book of Revelation. There's been fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic poles since 2017 up until now. These fluctuations in the Earth's magnetic poles are causing quite a calamity on the Earth. And that may have been something to do with triggering all these earthquakes and these volcanoes that are going on. And then we also have that great big ice sheet. It was like a gigantic, huge glacier that just fell off of Antarctica. Antarctica, the northernmost point by Argentina, just witnessed 65 degrees. Antarctica at 65 degrees. Are you kidding me? Then we have the wars and rumors of wars. Now there's always been wars and rumors of wars throughout history, but it's ramping up a lot. Ever since Vietnam, and you know, we had sort of a lull until we got to Desert Storm, and from Desert Storm on, things start to pick up again. And I think it had to do with, you know, the terrorist acts and everything. But now we got Turkey and Syria. We got the Ukraine and Russia. They've got bad blood. They have had all kinds of problems. Iran causing problems in the strait there with all these tankers. That was just last year. ISIS, which has never really been completely defeated, no matter what Donald Trump says. ISIS might have been defeated in Syria and, you know, whatever, but there's still a caliphate going on. Afghanistan, and you know, we're still there. We've been in there for 19 years. We need to get the hell out of there, but we're still there. India and Pakistan were having real bad blood last year. They thought that might become a nuclear thing. Israel is having a lot of problems with all these Iranian-backed proxies, Hezbollah, and stuff coming out of the Gaza, the Hamas with the Gaza Strip, and I mean, it's just all over the place. America's got bad tensions with North Korea, with China, with Iran, with all the jihadist groups. Then we got pestilence, which is, is actually another term for plague. The Australian fires. These bushfires are unprecedented. I forget what the amount of hectares they're calling it. I think it was like 50 million. It was enough to. It was like the state of Rhode Island 4 or 5 times over. That's how many trees have been burned. A couple of billion with a B animals have been killed. The California fires, for 2 straight years, we've had unbelievable fires in California. Paradise burned last year, the entire town of it. 500 billion locusts infesting East Africa now. 500 billion, and they're multiplying. And they said that this at this rate, the way they're eating food and multiplying, they're going to increase 500-fold. So if there's already 500 billion of them, add a couple more zeros, and 5 times 5 is, so it's going to be like 2.5 trillion locusts. And they can migrate up to 150 kilometers a day. Then we also have, just last year, which was extremely strange. I don't think it ever happened. 3 feet of hail in Mexico. Mexico. 3 feet. It was like a giant ice storm. I remember looking at this news program. You can't say that something isn't going on here. There's famines in Kuwait, East Africa, most of Africa actually, South America, Syria, parts of China. The American farmlands have been devastated by floods. There's going to be famine here before you know it, folks. And just like they said, when the third rider rides, when Jesus opens the third seal and the third rider rides, he'll have a pair of scales. He'll call for a denarius for a quart of barley, which in layman's terms means a denarius is what they would pay a worker for an entire day's salary. And it was just enough to make a loaf of bread with. It's getting bad. It's getting real bad. And it's only going to get worse. Now, in the days of Lot, we had rampant homosexuality, transgenderism. These were pagans. They were occultists. They believed in talking to the dead, which were no more than you're not talking to your dead relatives. You're talking to demons, okay? If you're summoning stuff on a Ouija board, you're summoning demons. These are deceiving spirits. They'll lie to you and say they're your grandfather, or they're your dead wife, or whoever, and they'll lie to you, and until you invite them into your house. And oh man, we'll have a seance and we'll light candles and we'll all hold hands and use the Ouija board. Don't do that. That's witchcraft. It's witchcraft. Pharmakeia is how John, the disciple, the Apostle John, described what he saw in Revelation. Pharmakeia is where we get the word pharmacy from. It means drug. It's a drug. And this is what, in the early 1st century and everything, the wizards, quote unquote wizards, would use to heal others. Pharmakeia is drug use. That's what it is. Have you ever seen so many people on drugs in your entire life? There's an epidemic going on with heroin here. We've got people smoking ice or whatever the heck this stuff is called. It's like meth, crystal meth. And they legalized marijuana in so many states now, and all they care about is your money. They don't care about what it's going to do to your brain. They don't care whether you're a free thinker or not. It's just going to make you a stupid retard laying on your couch, spending money on your phone. money that you don't have and you're too stoned to care. There's blasphemies towards God, daily Christian persecution all over the world. You know, in Muslim countries, a lot of them, these hardcore ones, they're beheading Christians. China, they're ripping down China and North Korea. They're ripping down churches and tearing crosses down, and now they're trying. You know, the half of a percent of people here that have a problem with Christianity in the United States, they're the ones that these lawmakers are listening to. And oh, we don't want to offend anybody, so let's tear down that cross that's been there for 110 years, honoring some World War I vets, stuff like that. I mean, really, really. What does it say on our money? In God we trust. Yeah. Well, when the nation turns away from God, that nation will be no more. I can guarantee you that. And in the days of Noah, murder, brutality, injustice, abortions, and genetic manipulation. The reason God had to knock out this world and only spared 8 people was because the entire genetic code of all flesh had turned sour because of the watchers that came down and produced the Nephilim, the giants, the men of renown. Okay? They were hybrids. They were not created by God. They were created by men, human women and angels that took human form and sowed their seed on earth. And they corrupted all mankind and all flesh. Apparently, they must have been messing around with animals as well. So every creeping thing, every bird in the air, and every animal and every human being was destroyed. And now they're they're splicing genes with babies, and not only are we killing all our babies, but now it's not good enough to just do it the old-fashioned way. Now we have to grow them in test tubes. Now we have to, remove this gene and that gene, and I want a blue-eyed baby that's going to go to Harvard and blah, blah, blah. It's a sick, sick world we live in, and I suggest you get right with God. Do it now, because we don't know when he's coming. But I can tell you this for sure. According to these signs that I just read, these are just some of them. You see the news on a daily basis, you know what's coming. Don't be deceived. Love y'all. Peace.